me up, boss.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Season 2 of the Wisdom Walkers podcast, where I'm your host, Javante Blackman. Just letting everybody know this is a promo hub for my new book, Walking with Wisdom. And in the building today, in the physical building today, I got my guy, Mr. Joshua Hopson is in the building. Mug-made product out of Pahokee, Florida. What's going on, my guy?
No, I'm just chilling.
Just chilling. I feel that. So, we're going to dive right in. I've been looking forward to this episode for a while. This young man is tremendous. Just to give a little background about him. So he is a high school graduate of the class of 2023 from Pahokee, Florida, graduated from Pahokee Middle-Senior High School, is a student athlete. And so because he is a student athlete, I got an icebreaker question for him that I know he's going to love. Give me your favorite Muck Bowl moment.
My favorite Muck Bowl moment? It has to be this year's Muck Bowl. This year I was able to play more time, actually start to help anchor the defense playing defensive tackle. So this Muck Bowl was just amazing to be able to hold the trophy and to hang almost about 40 points on GC head, like a 40-piece McNugget with some Raider sauce. So it was wonderful.
I'm gonna let you have that one. So, for those of you who don't know what the Muck Bowl is, in our community in the Muck, it is the biggest high school football rivalry, not only in our community but in the whole nation. It's been going on for decades, and it's where the Glade Central Community High School Raiders play the Pahokee Blue Devils, and it's the biggest game of the year.
Yes.
It's the last regular season game, so it gives you that kind of Florida State kind of vibe where it's a rivalry game.
Yes.
So you go in, no matter what your record is in the beginning of the season, you going in like that's your state championship.
Yep.
And at the end of the game, there's a trophy given to the winning team. And there's all kinds of great festivities surrounding it, but it has a lot of memories.
Yes, it does.
I was not fortunate enough to play football my senior and junior year of high school. I don't look back at that time with any regrets, but I do look back on it like that would have been dope to play. I can't say that I never lost a Muck Bowl though in high school. So as a Raider, I'm undefeated. I'm 4-0, and I take it. I would definitely take it, man. All right, so I got a couple of questions for you, Joshua. Just diving in. Question number 1. What does wisdom mean to you, and who is the first person that comes to mind when you think of wisdom?
Okay, wisdom, the basic terminology is to be wise. Mm-hmm. But wisdom is so much more than that. Mm-hmm. It's also being able to make sound judgment.
I like that.
And also being able to gather knowledge through your day-to-day experiences and your daily walk. Mm-hmm. So wisdom versus knowledge. Knowledge is being able to gather that information. Mm-hmm. Wisdom is being able to apply it apply it to your life. Mm-hmm. The lessons you learn throughout life, through your trials and tribulation, it helps develop wisdom in you. Absolutely. So you to be wise. Mm-hmm. So the person who first comes to me when it comes down to wisdom be my grandmother. Mm-hmm. She raised me since I was a baby, and she instilled in me so many lessons and so many morals and beliefs that helped me to gain my own wisdom from just being a sponge and soaking up the wisdom she was pouring into me. So wisdom is just, you have to be able to be wise, be knowledgeable, but also have, common sense. And that them all three of them work together to make sure you are a sound individual and have good character and be a good person.
I like that. I love the fact that you mentioned your grandmother as a person who personifies that principle, because for me, I've been echoing this since day one on my podcast, and my mom actually personifies that principle for me. And just as you talk about those 3 levels of what it means to be wise, you got knowledge, you have wisdom, but you also have that layer of common sense that is the foundation for everything. And it's something that I've echoed not only in this book, but also in my first book, Watching Wisdom. I talk about there are speeds to wisdom, and there are 3 speeds that you have to be able to walk in, all of which are the 3 that you just mentioned, bro. So I definitely love that is how you see it, because that's very, very important. So as a side note, little nugget question for you today, as of our recording, a young man who's been in the media for positive things and negative things, finally got a verdict on his suspension from the NBA. So Ja Morant has been in the media doing things that are considered to be ill conduct. And so the commissioner today, Adam Silver, said that he's going to suspend Ja Morant for 25 games, and he also has to meet certain conditions in order for that suspension to be lifted. As a young black man who has not only been an athlete, but you've also been put in some sort of spotlight in your community, what do you think the wisdom is? What kind of wisdom you think is needed for a person in that realm?
The wisdom that is needed is what my grandmama told me. You have to watch the company you surround yourself with, because you are who your company is.
Absolutely.
Or your friend group.
Right.
So she used to tell me, you either gonna draw them or they're gonna draw to you.
I like that.
And if you put it on a seesaw or balance, there are more friends than there are you.
Yep, that's
You'll
true.
be pulling by yourself.
That's true.
So you have to be careful who you surround yourself with, and you have to walk cautious every day, because there's someone or somebody looking at you. There's always eyes on you. So for me, I have nieces and nephews, so I'm their role model. So I have to watch what I say, what I do, because kids, definitely younger kids, they pick it up so quickly nowadays. You say something, they're ready to copy it and to repeat it.
Absolutely.
So you have to watch what you say and watch what you do. So that's just like Ja Morant. He has a young generation of kids who are looking at him and they see him as a role model. So with this generation, what he did might not see nothing wrong with them because they're used to it.
Yeah.
But that's the problem.
Yeah.
And he has to advocate and role model better for they to understand this is not the way to go.
Yeah.
Yes, I have made my mistakes, but I'm gonna go by the way to correct it and make sure y'all know what I'm doing is not right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. One of the things that I talk about in my book, especially in the third part of the book, which is the theme of this podcast, is how to be a wisdom walker. And there are 3 principles that you need in order to be a wisdom walker. You need intentionality, you need patience, but more importantly, you need a strategy. And a good strategy consists of understanding your past, your present, and your future. What has your past given you? What experiences, what tools, what resources has your past given you? What relationships has your past given you? How are you using those past tools to help leverage your present position? Where are you currently in? Are you appreciative of where you are? Are you grateful for where you are? Can you handle where you are, or do you still need to use the tools from your past to build a better present? And once you are grateful for where you are, once you are able to leverage your present position, then you can put some momentum and some energy towards your future endeavors. Where is it that you want to go? What's the trajectory of your life? Like, what are you working towards? And you need to be able to use all of those timestamps, past, present, and future, to gauge a successful strategy. And it comes with understanding your mistakes and your successes, your failures and your trophies. Like, how do you leverage all of that and use all of that to make sure that you get a good strategy and where you can really, really walk with this thing called wisdom? And I think that as black men in this country who we're already stereotyped.
Yep.
We get a tag on us not just by what our name is, but just how we look.
Yep.
You know? And so I think that because of just that tag and that stereotype that's already placed on us, it's important that we invite wise counsel to our table.
Yes.
We need people in our lives that have walked similar roads. Maybe they don't have present context for what we're experiencing now, but they done been in the spotlight before, or they done been a role model before. Maybe they handled it well, maybe they didn't, and we can learn from their mistakes. I'm one of those people who believe that I am not beyond reproof. That's a statement that I've been living by for the last 5-6 years of my life. I am not perfect by no means. And before I allow any level of success that I've been blessed to see, I'm going to sit down with some people who have been on this road before.
Yeah.
And I'm going to talk with them. And I think that what Ja Morant needs is a group of people who have been on this road of being in the spotlight as an NBA superstar, just a role model on a global platform, period, and teach them, hey, it's how you move.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to sit down and give him the game and really, really guide his ship.
Yeah.
Not saying that they have to little boy him. And I think a lot of times as black men, our ego gets in the way.
Yes. Prideful.
We're very, very prideful because we allow our ego to prevent us from being coachable.
Yeah.
And as a football player, I know you can appreciate hearing your coaches say, you know what, Joshua, you very coachable. You can handle being coached. You can handle somebody telling you right from wrong. So as a black man in about to step into the spotlight, how do you remain coachable? What's something you do to remain coachable?
One, how do I remain coachable?
Mm-hmm.
One, I have to stay humble.
Mm-hmm.
Have to stay humble.
Yeah.
And remember where I came from.
I like that.
In the muck, we do not have the resources.
That's true.
We don't have all the opportunities as our counterparts or those on the coast.
Yeah.
So I have to remember my background. I didn't always have everything.
Right.
So when I step into success, I have to acknowledge this is not just because I was this gifted and I was talented.
Mm-hmm.
I came from a place that breathed greatness into me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it showed me in the way the muck makes you tough,
Mm-hmm.
and it also makes you know to appreciate where you come from.
Yeah.
Because once you leave on Pahokee Beyblade, there's a whole nother world outside.
Yes, for sure.
And there's so many things you'll be able to experience and explore and discover, and you start to open your eyes like, okay, this is what the world is.
Mm-hmm.
But you still appreciate your humble beginnings because it bred greatness into you.
Yeah.
So you either were going to be great
Mm-hmm.
or you wasn't.
Yeah.
But it's based on how you yourself take the tools and the scratch you speak about and turn them into what you want it to be.
Absolutely.
Is you going to use them same tools to engine your vision?
Yeah.
And do you have the people behind you to push that vision as well?
I like that. I like that, man. You definitely speaking fast. You definitely speaking fast. All right, let's go to question 2. You've seen some pretty dark storms, and you know you can share your story as much as you want on this platform. It's a safe space, so I want you to feel as comfortable as you would like to share your story. The question I have for you though is, how have you been able to find the courage to still trust God's wisdom through all of this?
Wonderful question. A little bit about my story. Around the ages when I was first born, I was born to 2 parents, Douglas Thompson Sr. and Janet C. Thompson. And at that time, my parents, one in the right headspace and one in their physical and financial best, because they were going through a lot. During their time, there was so drugs and different things. So my grandparents took me in and adopted me and changed my name to Joshua Hopson. First I was Douglas Darnell Thompson III. I'm named after my father. So she took me in and she changed my name because my brother stayed in jail in trouble. So that was one of her little key nuggets and one of her little wisdom. Your name matters.
Come on,
your
bro.
name is reputation.
Come on, bruh.
So she changed it because she didn't want me to experience what my father was going
feel
through
that.
with my brother.
I feel that.
With the same name, police come get you and it's not even you.
Yeah,
So
right.
she took me in. She raised me all up to she passed May 13, 2021. I lost my father at a young age at 12, January 15, 2016. And then gratefully my mom stepped up and became my mother and actually to also motivate me, teach me, and support me. And I'm so grateful she did. But on the side of that, that's my grandma. She was my foundation. And once she passed, I had to figure this thing called life out without her.
Yeah.
Because I was figuring it out with her. Now you can understand not having that backbone. Now you gotta lean on your own.
Yeah.
Now you gotta lean on your own. You
Yeah.
gotta trust yourself.
Yeah.
So through these trials, the first few months of afterwards, it was just dark. Like you said, dark storms. I didn't feel like coming outside. I didn't feel like doing nothing. I was in my room, lights off, and I was just trying to figure it all out.
I feel that.
So it took me time to acknowledge what I was doing was separating myself from the people who could help me.
I feel that.
I had distanced myself from friends. Even though friends come check me, Josh, you playing ball? And it was like, I don't know.
Right.
I just tried to push them away. Because I said I didn't want to feel no more hurt from nobody.
I like that.
So I closed off my heart and put a wall up and say, I don't need you getting close because I don't know when you're going to leave. Because, to be honest, I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
So,
I feel that.
So I had to learn through that time after I started to speak with trusted adults like my athletic director, Miss Kelly, started to talk to my grandfather, and they used to tell me, it's not going to be easy. And my grandfather said there's nothing you can change about it.
Yeah.
You just going to have to learn how to deal with it and keep going. So that's when I started to find myself again, and I had to start back praying. And I had to start back seeking God's face so that I can find the peace that passes all understanding.
I like that. I like that.
So once I figured out and got back to my prayer life, then I was able to get through the trials and tribulation. And I had to start reading the word again and started to pick up the little nuggets that's in the word that encourage you when you're going through. And I had to read and study and pray and continue to pray. And prayer changes things, and I'm truly a testament to it. So I had to learn that God does not make no mistakes. And I learned that because I knew she was tired. And I knew that the body was not holding up anymore like it was. So I had to understand, okay, it's time that your labor down here is done. You can take your rest. And for those of us, her kids, we have to be able to carry the legacy. So that's what I found myself doing, that I had to pray more, and that all things work together for the good of those who love and called towards his purpose.
Absolutely, bro. Wow. Oh, what you said about oh, so many gems you just dropped, man. And the reason why I've been so excited about this episode to bring you onto my podcast is because, we share a similar story. The listeners out there know you and I have had conversations about this. I lost my mom in the same year that you lost your grandmother, but I lost her, a little bit later in September 29th, actually. And so I remember being in medical school at the time that I had lost my mom, and it was just the hardest thing for me because I was 24, about to turn 25. And for me, I used to live on this timeline thing where at a certain age, I felt like I had mastered a certain thing and I felt like I should be a certain place and whatever. Thank God that is no longer the case. But I used to think that at 25, I had to stamp on manhood. I felt like at that age, I had officially become a grown man.
Okay.
And for me, what was so ironic for me was at the moment of the graduation from being a young man to a grown man, I lost that backbone. I lost my biggest cheerleader. And I have never had, how most people talk about, after they lose a loved one that's close to them, they have dreams and this person comes back and have conversation with them and stuff like that. I never had that.
Me
To this day, bro.
I'm scary.
To this day, I have never had my mom come to me in a dream. I have not dreamed about my mother's face since her passing.
Me either.
And one of the things that people I've had on the podcast have asked this, my family, my friends have asked this, bro, like, how are you so strong? How are you able to get through that? And the thing that gives me peace, and I get emotional when I say this, but I'm gonna try not to do it on the podcast because I don't want to cry in front of everybody. But the thing that gives me the peace is this figurative conversation between my mom and God. And I ask, and I think about what that was like on her deathbed and how her and God were having a conversation. And she told God, if it means that they become the men, because I have a younger brother, so if it means that they become the men that you are molding them to be, if it means that they become the men that you call them to be, I'll go. I'll leave them if it means that they become the men that you want them to be. If I'm holding them back in any way, I'll go. It's a hard pill to swallow.
Yes.
It's so hard, man, because you think about all of these plans, and I was legit who I wanted to retire my mom.
Yeah.
I wanted the big house, and my girl never asked anything of me except for a white Infiniti QX60. And I talk about that in the book and how the only goal I've ever had for, being able to return the favor to my mom was giving her that truck. And I had a plan, but God had other plans.
Yes.
And, sometimes we get wrapped up in life and all the cliches that we make here in church or from older, people in older generations and things like that. And we hear, to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. And prayer changes things. And we say all of those things without ever going through things. And then you have to go through them, and they gain so much more meaning.
Yeah.
And so in the book, in one of the chapters, in the second part of the book, I talk about, as a chapter called Long Story Short, where I talk about the power of cliches and how a lot of things that are cliches have stories attached to them that most people don't have the energy to tell because it took so much out of them.
Yeah.
To go through something that lets you know that prayer changes things mean you had to spend a lot of time praying.
Yeah.
To go through something to let you know for a person that you love, to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. You had to sit in their absence.
Yeah.
You had to find wisdom's voice in that and say, you know what? I done been through something that lets me know that this person is with God. They're in a better place, which is so hard for you to receive when you're going through certain things, but it's like, nah, I had to live that, so that's why I can apply that.
Yeah.
Certain scriptures have different meanings, so when you are going through certain seasons, this is a testament to anybody out there. Like, if y'all going through something, tap into your word.
Yes.
Because the scriptures that you're going to read to get you through those dark times, the wisdom that's going to be echoed from God's word, is something that you're going to be able to just say one passage of scripture and it have so much more power to it as opposed to you not going through a situation and you just echoing that because it's something you heard echo from the pulpit or it's something you heard somebody say on TikTok or Instagram. You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely a matter of understanding the power of your story.
Yes.
And being able to use that in such a way that just A, God gets the glory.
Yes.
And B, you get a sense of how wisdom can carry you through.
Yes.
How wisdom can carry you through. All right, let's go to the next question. At what age would you say that the principle of wisdom became a huge part of your life? Mm-hmm. And how do you think being exposed to it early helped you?
It became the real principle my junior and senior year, 17 through 18, having to, what you say, do it in their absence.
Yeah.
And that's when it became clear to me, I gotta have wisdom. Mm-hmm. And I have to move and walk in it. Mm-hmm. Because also when she passed, I didn't always walk in it. It took time to walk in.
I feel you.
And there was days I ain't feel like getting up, going to school. Mm-hmm. And I have never ever missed so many days in school. Mm-hmm. But I was dealing with it, and I was trying to walk in her absence without her. Mm-hmm. So it became such a big principle these last 2 years, knowing, okay, we're almost to the finish line, and you have IB exams, and if you want to have a successful future that she embodied into you and taught you to have, you're gonna have to continue it without her.
Yeah.
But you have also the wisdom let you know she is always with you. Always. She's always watching, she always by you. And then like when you needed the most, the words would just drop in your spirit or come to your mind. Mm-hmm. So that when it became the biggest principle of my life, that I have to be able to walk in my wisdom, and I have to be able to move wise, because there's many things that will try to deter you from your calling or your vision or your dream. But the lessons you have learned and the lessons she taught you are to help you when these things come up against you. So learning at an early age, it, like it say, train up a child in the way they should go, and when they get older, they won't depart from. That's what it is.
Yeah.
When you get to that circumstance in that mountain, the wisdom she's been pouring into you all your life, it starts to kick in. Then you start to realize that what she was meaning. That what this mean. Because when you're a young child, it be like, okay, one ear out the other. Okay, she just saying something. But when you have to go through it and actually see, okay, this what it means.
Right.
All right, she was right.
Yeah.
Now I'm able to I'm able to walk forward and be able to walk wise and be cautious of the decisions I make while I'm walking.
I like that. I like that. You know, a lot of times we fear getting knocked down because getting up is so hard.
Yeah.
And I think that one of the things that really, I'm gonna be honest, that inspires me from just your story is how early of a like how early in your life you took your biggest knockdown. Not a lot of people, I know 50, 60-year-olds who are still knocked down and haven't gotten up. And they have lost their loved one or their backbone or the biggest cheerleader or this biggest staple in their life 30 years ago, 40 years ago. And they're still in just this pit of despair, not getting up. And so one of the things that I've talked about on my podcast previously, and it's just something I live by, is I believe everybody is in 4 speeds of life, four paces. You're either crawling, you're walking, you're running, or you're flying. And everybody's goal should be to fly.
Yep.
You always want to fly. And most people get really, really good at running. Some people are walking. There's nothing wrong with walking, but there's some people who are crawling. And I think that as a young man who is ambitious and, you know, is moving towards a certain place in life, you know that like you got a purpose. And so you walking and you're moving towards that purpose, you start to get a little momentum. And then all of a sudden you take this hit. And it doesn't just knock you back to a crawl, it knocks you down to a standstill.
Yeah.
And you have to learn how to get back up again and walk. And I think that the biggest blessing in your story and in my story is that as quickly as we could, as best as we could, we decided to get up.
Get up.
Just get up. The reason why I wrote this book is because I need people to understand that you can get up.
Yeah.
That's it. The reason why I wrote it is because I need people to understand, hey, it's possible for you to get up.
Yeah.
You can get up again.
You can.
You can get up again. Now, how you move forward, how you go from crawling to walking and eventually to running and flying is by having a relationship with this principle called wisdom.
Yeah.
And she's very, very like real.
Yeah.
The Bible talks about her in Proverbs 8 as this woman who was there at the beginning of time. At the beginning of creation, she was there right alongside with God as a tool to be used by him and help creation be formed.
Yes.
And from there, she never left this side because she's still a tool that is now used to help humanity. Yep. And it's in our best interest because she's has all of these blessings and benefits to her being in our lives, that if we just do life with her, we'll not only get up, but we'll go further than we were when we lost what we lost, or we went through the dark season that we went through. And so I think that just being able to get up again is something that should be celebrated.
Yes.
But more importantly, moving forward and walking again as you have been able to do at 17, 18 years old, man, that's commendable.
And just to add to that, two quick things. There's nothing wrong with asking for help.
Come on, bro. Talk about it. Talk about it.
And I just think, as young black men, our pride and ego is we are so stubborn we wouldn't ask nobody for help.
Exactly.
And then we be in this place and we search and we look at how do I get out. There's somebody who done went through what you went through. You just got to be able to stop being proud and say, I'm going to reach out and ask for that help. Exactly. There's nothing wrong with it. And that's why we see there's so much, that suicide rates are so high among young black men because we won't ask for help.
Absolutely.
And there's help out there for us. And also we have to be able to advertise those helps. There's people you can talk to. There's therapy, counseling. there's helpers out there for you. Ask for it.
Absolutely.
And 2, do not feel sorry for yourself. Because there's not going to be much people who are going to have pity for you.
Come on, bro.
Because there going to still be haters, doubters out there who going to still try to kick you back down, talk about you, and throw dirt on you while you're alive or dead. It does not matter. So don't feel pity or sorry for yourself. No, you get up, dust yourself off, then you make a plan. How am I going to move forward from here? And that's when you start to transition from crawling. While you crawling, you trying to, okay, how I'm about to get up. But when you transition, you are now analyzing. You have understood, okay, I have to make this transition, and there's moves I have to take before I can.
I like that. I like that. But you preaching now, boy. You preaching now. So in the book, there is just so many guides and gems to help you get up and walk again. People, like, go get this. Please go get it. Yeah. It's so, I'm telling y'all, like, I'm not just doing this week by week because I like talking. Don't get me wrong, I'm having fun. Like, I got amazing guests that are able to come onto my show, and we have good dialogue, and it's always fun. And this book is full of the best gems. Everything that I talk about on this platform is because God gave me this download, and I'm just grateful that I'm able to write it down and give it to y'all. So go get that. All right, let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. All right, next question is, where, meaning what area of your life, does wisdom walk with you the most right now?
Right now, the wisdom would be from transitioning from Florida to DC.
Okay, I like that.
I have to have, with wisdom, I'm trying to be wise on how I leave home and instill into my family how to unite and how to stay together. Because mom was the matriarch who held the family. Now we have to hold it together on our own. So that's the wisdom I'm at right now, is transition. And like for my siblings and my biological mom, I want them to be able to unite and stay together without me being as he's the baby and we're not gonna argue because of him. No. Yes, I'm the glue, but once I try to go do better things, I need y'all to continue staying together. The wisdom I like to what I have, I done set all my ducks in a row, make sure, okay, I have a grandfather, he's about to turn 76. I'm putting it in place now. Okay, I'm about to hand back over your credit card. Be careful. Don't go just withdrawing. You have bills. I'm making sure I tell my older brothers, y'all make sure y'all go check on Pops. I need someone checking on him every day. Make sure he's okay. Make sure he's eating. Make sure he's taking his medicine. Make sure he's going to his doctor appointments. So that's what, right now, where I'm at, is making sure before I leave here, I do not have nothing to regret for leaving home. I will return home, and when I do, I want to make sure I see the fruits of my labor.
I like that. You know, like, it's amazing that young men of your caliber are trusted with such great responsibility. You talk about being a baby, and that's just a biological thing, because you're really, like you say, the glue, but you are you're next up. And I truly believe that God is putting you in a position to, like, really, really gain more and more skills, so that when you do come back to your family, you're able to lead with experience. Not just the knowledge, not just being able to watch, but being able to do. And I think that every man has a moment in his life where, especially if he has, a good bag of wisdom on him, like I know that you do, he gets a moment in his life where he is able to go use all that he's learned and put it to the test. And you're able to see where your gaps in your knowledge are, and what it is that you need to work on. And God always puts you in a position to get better. And so I am super duper excited to see you go out and do that, and follow your journey, and watch how whatever God does in your life becomes so powerful and such preparation for where he's going to bring you back to.
Yeah.
I think about Nehemiah when I think about you, and Nehemiah is like my favorite book in the Bible. I really don't have a favorite scripture. It's just whatever the season is, that's what I'll rock with. You know what I'm saying? But Nehemiah is like my favorite book of the Bible, period, because of the story that it tells. And it talks about this gentleman who was the cupbearer of the king, who left home at a very young age and was given the responsibility of being a cupbearer for the king, and then home got destroyed, and he was tasked with rebuilding the gates of Jerusalem.
Yep.
And rebuilding the walls and of the city, and restoring the city from being desolate and destroyed to being a mighty city again. He can't have so much opposition, so much haters and doubters, and all kinds of crazy people just trying to destroy whatever he was working on. But God still molded and protected and built him so that when he went back home, he could not only be of service, but he can rebuild it beyond its former glory.
Yeah.
And I know, based on the conversations that you and I have had about your plans and for your future and just the future of where you come from, that your goal is not to go off and forget about home, but go off and be prepared so that you can come back and service home in a way that you have been led to do. And I'm excited to see you do that. All right, last question for you. How do you extend grace to yourself? Because that was something that you talked about earlier. Not feeling sorry for yourself, and not throwing a pity party for yourself. And I think a lot of times when we go through certain things, we want this sympathy card from God. This get out of jail, I can feel how I want to feel and be sorry for myself. Throw this pity party for myself for as long as I want to. From God, we want that green light from God. And I in the book I talk about how God does not give us sympathy as much as he does empathy. He's empathetic, meaning he can feel what we feel and he understands what we feel, but he does not give us the justification to stay there. And yes, all your feelings are valid.
They are.
Don't ever think that none of your feelings aren't valid, right? But there comes a moment, especially when it's time to get up. I'm not talking about when you first get the news or when you first get the negative report or whatever it is. Feel that. You can be angry, you can be upset, you can cry, you can be confused, you can be frustrated, feel all of that. But when it's time to get up again, you got to take off that cloth of sympathy and put on the mindset of, all right, God, do you understand where I am? And if you do, how do I get out of this? So back to the question that I have for you. At such a young age, how do you extend grace to yourself as you navigate through life moving forward?
How do I extend grace?
Yeah.
Being a athlete, being a intelligent mind, for those who understand that the biggest critic and the hardest critic you have is yourself.
That's true.
So you will beat yourself down more than your critics will, because internally you believe, I can do better.
Absolutely.
There's something I could have did. There's something I could have changed.
Absolutely.
So, like, for me, I started it so early. I remember getting a progress report. I had 7 A's and a B. I went in the bathroom and cried. Because I did not have all A's, and it was a progress report.
Yeah.
Not even the final, it was a progress.
Right.
And I sat in the bathroom and cried. She was like, there's nothing wrong with getting A, B. But if you want to change that means you need to study more and do your work in the classroom. So when I did get that final, I had all A's. So the biggest, how I extend myself grace is understand that you're acceptable to make mistakes. You are not a perfect man. There's no one perfect but him.
But God.
God.
You're right.
So I have to understand that I have to be able to extend myself grace. So even when I slip in attendance, I had to understand, okay, you're going through, but you need to be in the classroom for you can be able to gain the knowledge to pass your exam.
Absolutely.
So that's how I started to extend myself grace. And I wouldn't want to feel sorry for myself because, okay, yes, my mom has passed, but that is not an excuse for you to sit competent or comfortable where you at.
Yeah.
Don't feel complacent or content where you're at.
Absolutely.
If you want to do better,
Do better.
you should never feel comfortable.
I like that.
If you're better, you must you have to feel uncomfortable. Because when you're uncomfortable, that means, okay, something ain't sitting well with me. That's something I need to change. So that's how I extend myself grace. Understand there's steps to improve, and always know there's always room for improvement.
Absolutely. Like I said earlier, I am not beyond reproof.
Yeah.
And extending yourself grace is not a green light to stay complacent, like you just said. Just because I understand that I'm susceptible to make mistakes doesn't mean that I keep making the same mistakes.
Yeah.
I gotta change something. I gotta do something different. And one of the things that I really wanted to get, start to echo, especially in this second season of the podcast, is let's step away from losing a loved one, right? We grieve so many other things.
Yes.
We grieve opportunities. And that's like the biggest thing that I've learned over the last year and a half of my life is understanding there are some things that you're going to grieve. Some opportunity you missed or just out of your control that you're going to grieve. But how do I extend grace to myself enough to realize that there is something that I have to change? I always get on this platform and I be a little bit more vulnerable every single time I step on. So I have been living back in the muck for a full year and some change now. And it is the most uncomfortable season of my life. It frustrates me every day. Not that I don't like home, but the people who know my goal was never to be back home. I always told myself I won't come back home until I have that white coat. That's just me. That's just a promise I made to myself, promise I made to my mom. And God has a funny way of putting you exactly where he needs you to be.
Yeah.
But I love the fact that when I'm home, I'm never comfortable. I love where I'm from. When I say I love the muck, I am so proud to be from here.
Yep.
But I know I can't
Stay here.
There's nothing here. Literally, like,
Nothing.
I need y'all to understand. We don't have a Walmart. We don't have no Publix. We don't have none of that. Like, I've been saying that for the past few episodes, but I need y'all Google it. I used to teach in Tallahassee, and my kids used to ask me, like, Mr. Blackman, where you from? Da, 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 da. Like, you seem like you grew up in the streets. Like, you from the hood, da, 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 but you smart. I don't get it. I say, YouTube Bell Glade. Just put Bell Glade into YouTube. And they never did it. So one day I stopped class because the questions kept coming. And I did. If you put Bell Glade into YouTube, 80 to 90% of the videos that you see are crime, fighting, gang violence, negativity.
Yes.
Literally, there are videos that say that the Muck area is a third world country. It's a ghost town. And they walk through with these cameras and videotaping abandoned buildings and destroyed or run down apartment buildings, and it's a disgrace to really the people who are from here, who live here, who are here. But there's still a little truth to it. There really isn't anything substantial here in the muck. And yes, there are initiatives that are bringing things back, and I'm applauding, and I'm so excited for those initiatives. But as of right now, as of 2023, the muck is the muck. It's the state of the muck is we need help.
Yeah.
There's nothing here.
No.
And it frustrates me to the point where I am constantly in prayer, constantly seeking God, I'm constantly working. How do I get out of this place? Not so that I never come back, but that I could be representation to somebody who's also trying to get out of this place.
Yes.
How do I do that? Like that's my mindset moving forward. And so I'm glad God has me here, because it frustrates you when you receive grace to be in a certain place in a certain season, and it may not be the prettiest of places. You have to remember that grace is not so that you can stay. The grace is for you to get enough wisdom to get up out of there.
Yes.
And you got to be willing to get up out of there. That's just the bottom line. Like, you got to be willing to get up out of there. And so, as you stated earlier, it requires, not feeling sorry for yourself, but it also, requires you asking for help and all that kind of stuff. And so, man, listen, y'all, go get help. The biggest help you can go get right now is this book. I'm not telling you that I have the answer key. I don't believe God makes answer keys. He don't make answer keys. He don't make answer keys, man, but he does give us resources and tools to help us get up and walk again.
Yeah.
So, Josh, you're gonna get your copy of this book really, really soon before you get up out of here and get to DC. Tell me one thing you're looking forward to reading about in this book.
One thing I look forward to is just the gems. I love trying to be a sponge. I love trying to pick the brain of those who've been through it. And I just want to continue to add to the tools and strategies that I have already and just gain some more knowledge and some more wisdom on how to walk with wisdom and how to walk through life.
I like that. You're definitely going to get all of that and then some. I'm excited for everything that this book is going to be able to provide for you, but more importantly, I'm excited for everything that God is going to do for you. And so, Josh, you are the youngest person to ever walk onto my platform, and I believe in pouring back into the next generation. And so, didn't tell you about this, so I'm gonna announce this on the podcast. I know that you're stepping into a season of being an ambassador for our area and really, really holding it down. And so I am going to invest in your future. I believe that every young man, especially who is going to be stepping into a professional setting, needs to be represented well. And so I'm going to pay for your professional headshots. I'm going to make sure that you get that because the places that you're going to be walking into, you're going to need that. I got you. I definitely got you. And any other way that I can help in your future, please let me know. Please let me know. So for all of my photographers out there, whether you're in the Muck area or you're in the DC area, my boy leaves for DC in a couple of days, we got to get them right. We definitely got to get them right. So I have some friends of the podcast that I'm going to be reaching out to. Y'all already know who y'all are. Do not be afraid if you get that phone call. We got to help this young man out, man. But that concludes episode 3 of season 2 of the Wisdom Walkers podcast. Make sure y'all go get my book. It is now available on Amazon and Audible, so you can hear me talk about it, talk through every page, and get those gems in your head, through your ears, and through your eyes, man. I'm a fan of paperback books, but time everybody time ain't on the same type of time. You feel me? So they you definitely get it any way that you can get it, man. But nonetheless, I love you guys. Josh, man, I appreciate you, bro.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you, man. And until next time, y'all. Peace.